Now, when President Trump returns to the U.S., his top priority will be passing a GOP tax cut bill that would be the largest overhaul of the U.S. tax system since the 1980s. But there are significant differences between the Senate and House GOP bills, including different proposals about the kinds of deductions that might be limited or even scaled back, as well as who will end up getting a significant tax break. Joining us to talk about this is Republican Congressman Emmer. Thank you so much for coming in.
Good morning, Esme.
All right, lots of confusion here because we're hearing about all these things that are on the table, popular deductions like limits on mortgage deductions, college loan deductions. Help us out. What's going to be in this bill?
It's going to be, as I was telling you before the show today, it's fluid. The House plan, which will probably get a vote most likely this coming Thursday or Friday, it has, well, they say we have 4 rates. We actually have 5. There is a 0% rate up to $24,000. There's a 12% rate up to $90,000. Then there's a 25% rate, and it jumps up to a 39.6% rate. On the Senate side, they have 7 rates. They've left 7 rates, and they've adjusted the income ranges that those apply to. And you're right. There are different things that are kept in the House side, including the adoption tax credit. They left out the health care tax credit in both, as far as I could tell. So there's going to be a discussion about these going forward. Ultimately, it's going to go to a conference.
Okay, you're talking about possibly voting on this on December 19th. That's really a short time from now. Can you guarantee Minnesotans that all of them will have a significant tax cut?
Well, I think what we're waiting for right now, and hopefully it'll be up here in the next day or so, is a calculator that you and I, anyone in Minnesota, will be able to go in and plug in their numbers based on the House proposal and see what their bottom line is. Obviously, we're trying to make sure that everybody gets a tax cut in this thing. The one that I will not guarantee, which I disagree with a little bit, is this 39.6% rate. People that are over $500,000, it's not as good for them as people who are from $500,000 and down.
All right. You were one of the only prominent Republicans in Minnesota to get out there on the Trump bandwagon and say this man should be president. A year into this, what grade would you give President Trump?
Well, I support the agenda. I think
A, B, C, D.
Well, no, I think that this is the agenda is good. This is what the American public want.
But he hasn't gotten anything done yet in terms of his agenda, in terms of repealing and replacing Obamacare. We'll see about this tax cut. I mean, that would be the first major legislation, right?
Esme, before Donald Trump took office, we had an economy that was growing at less than 2%. We now have an economy that's actually 3% and a little bit more, projected to grow even bigger. And a lot of that is because of all the regulation that has been taken off of the American public. Government, there's a lot that's been going on, but you make a great point. The big things. Health care. Well, how are you going to fix health care? This tax reform bill, it's imperative that we get it done. And then the transportation package, the infrastructure package. These are things that America expects us to get done, and it'll start, I think, with the tax reform before the end of the year.
Now, you also have at another job, a big job. You are the deputy chair of the Republican National Congressional Committee. As I understand it, your job is to make sure that the House doesn't go over to the Democrats next year, that you hold the line there. Democrats are licking their chops after Tuesday. Are you worried about losing the House?
Well, actually, we've won every special election that has been held since the inauguration. And last Tuesday in Virginia, it's interesting. That was a state that Hillary Clinton won by 5 points. So I think maybe people's expectation and the result, it's not exactly what everybody expected in terms of would it be closer. That's true. But what we did see, Esme, is we saw not only an intensity that really drove some Democrat turnout in areas that are strong Democrat areas, but we also saw an increased turnout for Republicans in those few areas where you have a Republican base in Virginia.
All right. Well, Congressman Emmer, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, Esme.